President Donald Trump continued his battle to overturn the results of the presidential elections. He stressed, in a series of tweets, yesterday morning, his criticism of the Supreme Court and accusations of election fraud, saying on his Twitter account, "It is the most corrupt election in the history of the United States." President Trump spoke to Fox News yesterday morning, and said that he is continuing to fight to challenge the election result, despite the Supreme Constitutional Court's rejection Friday of the lawsuit filed by the Attorney General of Texas, which was seeking to annul the results of 4 states. "No, it's not over," Trump said about whether his legal appeals had ended. "We are continuing to fight and we will continue to move forward." Regarding the Electoral College meeting this morning to officially confirm the victory of Joe Biden in the presidential elections, Trump said, "I don't know. We'll accelerate the matter as much as we can, but they give us very little time, but we caught them as fraudsters and dropping ballot papers. Nobody can believe it. The dead voted, and tens of thousands of ballots were submitted illegally. It is a rigged election." Trump repeated his allegations of widespread fraud and that he was the winner in the U.S. elections, indicating that he was challenging the result because he could not bear the idea of a U.S. president winning fraud. He said that he was concerned that the United States would have an illegal president, noting that what happened makes the United States like a third-world country. In a question about Trump's legal team's inability to provide evidence of election fraud, Trump said, "We never had a chance to prove it, because the judge says we do not have legal capacity. No judge has had the courage, including the judges of the Supreme Constitutional Court, and I am very disappointed," he added. "There was no judge in the Supreme Court of the United States who had the courage to listen to us." Trump refused to confirm whether he would attend Biden's inauguration on January 20. During the past 5 weeks, Trump has asked Republican state legislatures to nullify their voters' votes and grant him their electoral votes, but they refused, and Republican governors in the states that Biden won have also rejected Trump's request to refuse to certify the election result. Republican officials who endorsed Biden's victory faced threats of violence. And over the past few days, Trump has turned his fight into a high-stakes loyalty test that will affect the future of the Republican Party. Republican strategist Bill Kristol tells me that Trump is in control of the party despite losing the election, and instead of retiring like most previous presidents, Trump is campaigning to keep collecting money and donations and ensuring the party remains under his control, and thus providing support to the Republicans he loves, and putting obstacles in front of those Republicans who stand against him, which are bad conditions for moderate Republicans who hope that the party will maintain its independence from Trump's populism. And in the same tone that the U.S. president sings, some Republicans continue to support Trump and remain silent about his attacks against institutions, with 106 Republicans supporting the Texas case, which was rejected by the Supreme Court. Analysts say this is for their own sake or as a form of party loyalty. President Trump's insistence on electoral fraud unleashed many of those who lost their seats in the House and Senate legislative elections in more than 6 states to refuse to admit defeat on the grounds of fraud. Lauren Kolb, the Republican candidate who lost the election for governor of Washington state, has filed a lawsuit questioning that he was the victim of fraudulent elections in his state. And in California, a Republican candidate for governor defeated in Los Angeles refused to concede and accept the result. In Maryland, a congressional candidate complained of wrongdoing that led to her defeat. President Donald Trump continued his battle to overturn the results of the presidential elections. He stressed, in a series of tweets, yesterday morning, his criticism of the Supreme Court and accusations of election fraud, saying on his Twitter account, "It is the most corrupt election in the history of the United States." President Trump spoke to Fox News yesterday morning, and said that he is continuing to fight to challenge the election result, despite the Supreme Constitutional Court's rejection Friday of the lawsuit filed by the Attorney General of Texas, which was seeking to annul the results of 4 states.